So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again. I have horns. Kieran Tierney's arms are my horns now.
You fully do as well. He's right, lad.
I do, I've got horns. I am the horn. How are you, man? How you been?
I am amazing, my friends. Couldn't be better. I'm trying to make sure that my mic doesn't tap against my jacket, but all good in the hood. Besides football, which is really, really crap, I'm actually getting a little bit of delight watching Arsenal at the moment. Is that weird?
No, we're the best team in the league. We're the best to watch. Yeah. We're getting results. We're scoring. It's going well, man.
It's really good to see, to be honest, in a sense of the football that you're playing. You know, first and foremost, I'm a Liverpool fan. Second of all, I'm a football fan, a massive one at that. I'll watch a lot of different games. I'm not trying to say I watch specific leagues week in, week out. I don't follow the storylines, but if there's a game that intrigues me, I'm more than happy to watch it. And Arsenal's football, it'd be a shame to miss. It's very different to what we've seen. I think Arteta has added his own spin on it, and the depth is looking good. And I think Eddie Nketiah, you might owe him some. I don't know what you said on him, but you might owe him some apologies still, because man like Eddie Nketiah, he's not just the goal. He's actually a decent all-round player. He's decent. I don't know if you agree.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. He's doing a job. I'll give him his credit. Did you like the pun? I'll give him his credit. He's got credit in the bank now on his phone. Now, to be fair, he's took his opportunity. He's scoring goals. He scored two. The first goal against Man United. What a goal, man. That header was insane. And he always scores inside the 6-yard box, which is something that Jesus doesn't. Like, Jesus is more of a better footballer. But Eddie's just a poacher, man. And listen, when we've needed goals this season, when he stepped up and he's putting us 5 points clear with that winner at the weekend. So listen, credit where it's due. I hope every single one of these players makes me eat my words. I hope the manager makes me eat my words. Apparently, I'm a flip-flop anyway because I'm enjoying the football. So last year I was in the mud. The year before I was a rat. This year I'm a flip-flop. So I can't wait till next year. I don't know what they're going to come up with next year. Do you know what I mean?
You're a flip-flop for seeing what is better football, what you've been expecting to see from one of the biggest football clubs in the world. Okay, no, I think they have a point. I think you're in the wrong.
Yeah, 100% agree. Totally agree. Your Wi-Fi is moving crazy, by the way.
I might see if I can get better connection because the room's a little bit mad. Can you give me a minute?
Yeah, no worries, man. Just jump back in when you're ready.
Go on. One sec.
Sweet. Anyway, listen, big up to everyone inside, man. I will be back later with Goonie as well. So make sure you come and check that one out later. But we are going to talk about Caicedo in a minute. There's a lot of stories doing the rounds that we're going to bid 75 million quid for him. Apparently, we're weighing it up. It is pending. We're going to talk about Liverpool when James is back with a better connection as well. See what his thoughts are on their on their game against Chelsea the other day, what he sees in the transfer window happening at Liverpool, if anything. And I will have a couple of transfer videos dropping later this evening. Well, early hours of the morning and then tomorrow morning. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Second channel, make sure you sub to that. I'm going to record that video today as well. I've got everything ready to go. I just need to record it. I've been saying that for about 20 days, but I am actually going to record that video today. So that'll be sent to the people that emailed me about editing. And hopefully that'll be out by the end of this month. So big up to everybody inside as well, man. Make sure you smash the like button, share, and sub to Hammers as well. His link is in the title. And yeah, man, it's all good. But listen, we've got Man City tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. A cup game. Pep's a little bit rattled at the moment, calling out his players, calling out the club, saying that he's not interested in the title, etc., etc. Well, let's see if he's interested in the FA Cup. And I'm looking forward to the FA Cup. I grew up on the FA Cup. It was a cup that was actually prestigious back then. Now it's only the FA Cup, unless Arsenal win it, and then it's the greatest cup ever to be seen. So kind of mad, isn't it? It's crazy. But big up to everyone. Let's read out some of these comments while we wait for James. You're not a flip-flop for wanting the best. Exactly, bro. But it's all right, man. Like 2 years ago, I was a rat. That's why Master Splinter's on the screen. Master Splinter, by the way, will have flip-flops on by the end of this week. There will be flip-flops edited onto that Master Splinter. It's already being done. So yes, as soon as I get that PNG file back, that'll be on the screen with flip-flops on. Maybe I should have put him in a bit of mud as well. I don't know. I can't wait till next year. It's going to be jokes. What am I going to be called next year? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Big up to everyone in here, though, man. Come on. Yeah, James will be back in a second, people. He's just sorting his internet out. Love the background. Yeah, big up Melissa. She's top graphic designer. So big up to her. She's a wizard on Photoshop. So big up to her. And she's a gooner as well. So that makes it even better. Big up to Hammers. Yeah, Hammers is just sorting his Wi-Fi and then he's going to be back, people. Yeah, Pep's just being salty. That's all it is. Pep's playing reverse psychology games as well. He's playing the game.
I am outside in the back. Let me know if this is better.
Yeah, that's miles better. You're going to freeze out there, though, mate.
Nah, hey, Lee. I used to go out prime in the shorts, yeah. Sometimes barefoot because, one, bit of a scruff growing up. Two, enjoyed the fruits of the labour of just being able to go outside and just, you know, play football when you wanted to. There's holes in your socks and whatnot. This is prime weather for me, for my friends, you know what I mean? I don't go on many holidays. I don't live in Spain, such as yourself, so I've got the skin for it.
There you go. Well, yeah, you are from up north, mate, and you're a little bit tougher than us southerners, that's for sure.
What can I say? And, you know, if you beat us the way you did last time, like, you might be getting a knuckle sandwich yourselves or one of the players. We're not Tottenham fans, though.
Well, this is true. This is true, man. It could be a lot worse, couldn't it? Listen, I want to, before we talk about Caicedo, the title is Arsenal are going to bid 75 million, allegedly, for Caicedo. We'll come back to that in a minute. I want to ask you, are Liverpool going to actually sign anyone in this transfer window other than Gakpo?
Is that a rhetorical question or something? Because I don't think there's really an answer that I can give you other than probably not. Because Liverpool can surprise you. They can do out of nowhere signings. They can do a little Randy Orton RKO, if you want to use a quick analogy. And I do believe as well that there is a possibility. How big the possibility is a different question. And I do think it's small. I don't think it's super necessary. I think we're looking to have big investment. Jurgen Klopp, you know, you saw him in the press conference the other day. God bless the journalist, because apparently he's a regular at the press conferences. And Jurgen Klopp said, come on, lad, you've asked me this question plenty of times. You know the situation. Like, why do you keep asking? Why do you keep trying to force it out of me? You know they're not spending nothing. Like, of course, not along those lines. But the previous answer used to be is that he liked a small squad, which never made sense to me because I don't understand a person in any way of life who would deny more resources. I don't get that. If your camera started to mess up on you, Lee, and someone said, yeah, there's a new one fresh, you're going to try it out, aren't you? Even if it ends up being shitter than your previous one, you're still going to give it a go because your other one's messing up, temporarily at least. And Jurgen Klopp would not deny those resources if they were available. That's why I always question the logic of him just wanting a smaller squad for, what, harmonious reasons, when he's always complained about depth. He's complained about the amount of games in a week. If he has a problem with the amount of games in a week, and that law hasn't changed, you've got to accommodate that. Jurgen Klopp is a type of manager or man who adapts, and that's why I like to think he would then think, okay, I'm not going to get any less games. It comes with the price of being a big team. You've got to play 3 times a week. But what I can do is get a bigger squad. But then that's where you've got to look at the owners and think, are they willing to go out? Yeah, you looked at Man City's bench the other week against United or whatnot, or the game after, and you think to yourself, you know, the wages on that bench is significant. And you look at Chelsea, for instance, they can afford to do these big, massive deals over a long period of time and kind of skate around the boards. Liverpool either don't have the same intelligence or don't have the same funds. It might actually be a bit of both. Either way, the manager wants more players. I think we're only going to see a couple of additions in the summer, none in January, which is a big shame because that means we're probably not going to improve chances for top 4, and maybe Gakpo was the only one.
That's what I was going to say. If you don't sign anybody in this window, the club and Klopp have kind of let everyone down because you're not great this season. You're what, 9th, 10th in the tables or joint 9th, whatever it is. You've looked so off form. It is mad. I know you've got some injuries to key players. I know Yotta's coming back. Diaz is coming back. How long's Virgil van Dijk out for, or is he back?
He will be actually not confirmed, I believe, but February, March.
Okay, so yeah, that's a big loss for you as well. And this is the thing, like your midfield already needed upgrades in the summer. Every single one of them midfielders, as good as Thiago is, he's never fit long enough. And then the rest of them are just too old and not really at the level anymore. Like Henderson's been a good servant for you, good captain, good leader and that, but he ain't good enough anymore. And this is the thing that I think with Liverpool, like when we see the Fergie teams back in the day, Fergie was always evolving. Every couple of years, he'd change his number 2. As soon as he wanted, like Berbatov, he got Berbatov. He scored loads of goals, golden boot. Then he binned him out the football club inside 18 months. It's like you have to constantly evolve. And I think at Liverpool, you don't evolve. Like you've not evolved in this era. Like this period that Klopp's been there, don't get it twisted. You must have been loving life. Champions League finals, League Cup, FA Cup, constantly getting to finals all the way through that, really. And winning them as well. So where they should have been smart is, right, okay, well, he's touching 31. We need to get rid of him in the summer. Instead, it's, I can get one more year out of him. And then that one more year don't end up happening. And by the time you've done that over the last couple of years and you've kept hanging on to sentiment with these players, and because of their mindset and their elite mentality, it's now culminated in the season that you're having now. And now it looks like you need a massive overhaul, which is going to cost a fortune, especially when Chelsea are banging 100 million quid on every player. Like, do you know what I mean? It's mad.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, Lee. It's a good point. And on top of that, just to add to it, I think you're bang on. I think it's going to be hard to... This is why, as a fan, I need to be patient. Otherwise, I'm just going to be upset. So I need to be patient with, another process, if you will. And I don't mind. And listen, football isn't about winning every year, especially when you're a team that lacks resources in comparison to other sides. And I'm aware of where Liverpool are. We're not as... And it's not an excuse. It is what it is. That's just the matter of the fact. People can glamorously attract more players with certain things. Even just living in Liverpool is a shit thing. You don't want to live in Liverpool if you're not from here. You know what I mean, mate? It is. It's not it's a sound city in parts, and
it's a great night out. It's
a fantastic night out. But even the fact that the premise has to be set of why Liverpool is amazing on the premise of a night out is crazy to me. Definitely not a reason why a professional footballer would want to come here, considering they're not going to be allowed to even go out. Let's be honest. So it's a bit of a mad one. I'm not trying to make excuses. I think Klopp's done brilliantly, but I'm also willing to bear with him because I think it's the players who have done the most, and it's okay to give these players big contracts. But again, it's about replacing them when you can and adding reinforcements when you can. And I think the time has just been a little bit off, which is a big shame as well.
There's a lot of people in the chat mentioning about Maddison and Tielemans. Like, listen, Maddison's going to be quite expensive for anyone to buy him, but he's a top player, and I do think he'd walk straight in Liverpool's team. I don't think that would be a question. But one player I want to ask about is Tielemans. Like, that guy's cheap and cheerful price because of the contract length he's got left. I am baffled you ain't gone in for him. Like, he instantly upgrades your midfield. And what, 15 million?
He does, but there's better options out there. That'd be a desperate sign, and that'd be the majority of our funds. But we're willing to spend.
But then who are you going to get that's better than that walks straight in the team now?
Well, we want to get you Bellingham, and the reports of that has got stronger over recent days. I know people laugh at the transfer rumour, but there is actually legitimacy to it. It's just the case of that Dortmund literally wanted to... It's always been the case that Dortmund wanted to sell this summer coming up. They weren't going to let him go last summer. They weren't going to let him go in January. And that's been the big boy that we want to sort of bring in and hopefully be the next Steven Gerrard, which is, just let him be the next Jude Bellingham and let him do well in that aspect. But I don't know. I think if we're going to get Jude and we have limited resources, I'd rather Jude for the long term opposed to just Tielemans for the short term and then not being able to get. And let's say if it's not just Jude, which it can't be because we're losing Ox and we're losing Naby. I do believe that we've got to go and get someone else, which could be Tielemans or it could be someone else, maybe a more defensive midfielder, as we need to look at alternatives for Fabinho. So yeah, I think we'll get Jude. If Tielemans would affect that, then I don't want Tielemans. If Tielemans can come in and we still get everyone we wanted, I'm not against it, Lee. Give me more players.
See, that's what I think. I think if you go and sign Tielemans now, that gives you an instant lift in your team because he's a player that can walk straight into the team and he'll give you something now. Yes, he's not had a great season. He don't want to be at Leicester. I think everyone knows that. But to go to Liverpool, Arsenal have been linked to him. Other clubs, Newcastle and other clubs are linked to him as well. But if Liverpool were to come in, he instantly walks straight in your first 11, whereas at the other clubs he's linked to, I don't think he does. And he's only a cheap deal. So it could be strap him up to a 3-year contract, 4-year contract, or 3.5, whatever it would be. And then in the summer, you get Bellingham, get rid of some of the dross that are there, and now you've got him and Tielemans. And then are Liverpool going to be able to draw Bellingham in? I know there is. I personally do think he is semi-interested in Liverpool. Liverpool are definitely interested in him. But are you going to go out and be able to attract him if you don't make Champions League?
Jude?
Yeah.
Probably.
Why do you think that when there's going to be Real Madrid and PSG and Bayern and City?
Is there going to be those teams?
I think Madrid are definitely being for him. Like Modric and Cruz are nearly done. Like they're coming to the end. I know they've got Camavinga. I know he's not really playing at the moment, but he will get in that team at some point over the next 12 months on a consistent basis. But if they had him and Bellingham in that team, I think that's levels. Like both of them, Camavinga and Jude.
Would you dispute the idea of that Jude could go to Real Madrid at any time in his career?
Oh no, of course he can. Of course he can.
And I think he's got a sentiment.
That little carrot now and say, look, you can come here now.
Yeah.
Then why would he go to Liverpool?
Not everyone works the same, Lee. Not everyone works the same. Based on logic, 2 + 2, yeah, you're bang on. But as we've seen in many case studies previous, that's not always the case. Some players look for different incentives, and you don't know how good the project is sounding. You know, it's about a pitch. It's about being able to sell it. And right now we are in a dump, but we have shown a case study with this manager and his philosophy. He can be very, very successful. And again, the biggest incentive to come to Liverpool for me is the idea, you know, he's from Birmingham, isn't he? So they're kind of like quite out there people. I think he'll like the atmosphere that is brought to the club. You can see he's quite a charismatic fella. And sometimes money isn't always the number one incentive. Maybe some people chase those experiences, those moments. The influence of family is very important, which it's not the key factor. Even everything I'm saying is not 2 + 2, by the way. But it's just counterpoints. Like, you know, if his family really wants him to join Liverpool, which has been confirmed quite a few times over recent months, then that's a massive incentive to want to join. He's still going to get paid nicely at us because he's going to be one of our biggest signings, without question. So that's why I'm thinking, if that's the case, then he's maybe got a big incentive, because if the project's good, he can probably bear to not play in Champions League for the season.
No, I understand what you're saying, man. I get it. Like, this comment here from Ashton says Liverpool shouldn't splash all their money on Bellingham, though. They should try and buy 2 or 3 smart midfielders, unless Liverpool are going to surprise everyone and do 300 mil in the summer.
No, I agree.
Probably not. You're not going to go and spend with the talk of the ownership and stuff like that. I don't see how you're going to go and have a massive summer when we know Chelsea are going to go again. If City don't win the league, they're definitely going again. And even if they do, they'll still add. Arsenal will go again and sign some players in the summer. And it's like, then you've got Newcastle, they can throw another load of money at it. All of a sudden,
Lee, a year ago, a lot of this weren't the case for many clubs. Eddie Howe just joined Newcastle. Arsenal were still being very doubted. Manchester United were years away from championships. Anything can change overnight. A signing, a couple of signings. It might not be as many as you think. Because one factor is injury. So say if we get less of those next season, you never know. And I'm not saying rely on that, but unfortunately, the season when we won the league, we got no injuries. If we got injuries, would have we been able to sustain that consistency? No, because the team would have been constantly getting disrupted. This team never. And that team was very, very good. And one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time for me. And I'll always fight for that team no matter what when it comes to those debates. But it's not about building that team again. It's about building a team good enough to win this version of the Premier League. And I don't see it as good as Arsenal are. I just don't know if they get to the 90-point range. Very well could touch 90. 97 and 98, I feel like that was a bit of a anomaly. So now it's not about, you can actually afford the odd draw here or there. It's not terrible if you do it now. Whereas us in City, we couldn't. That's why the 13-game winning streak, it was a loss. It was a loss. And that just shows the competitiveness. So that's why I'm thinking, it'd be very easy to say Liverpool are written off. And again, it's not even me being optimistically. You know me. I like to try and be as balanced and honest as possible. And instead of going too far one way, which I very well could, I'm trying to look at it from a balanced point of view that, why wouldn't I back Jurgen Klopp, mate? I mean, it's not like it's been 15 years since he won a trophy. He won 2 last season. The circumstances that we are well educated of, maybe not, with social media growing, with news becoming ever more present, I think it's actually easier to know more about club situations, opposed to even when Wenger started getting talked about, you know, the sack. I don't think it was as prevalent. I don't think as many people was as into it. Now you can't avoid it. So with those external circumstances, it's about identifying what is the rotten apple at the club. And I'll be honestly, I don't know if you were a businessman, I don't know if you'd identify it as Jurgen Klopp, which is also the same as me.
No, true, man. Listen, it depends how much input Klopp has on signings, which I think he would have quite a massive input, considering the success that he's had there. But at the same
according
time,
to like proper strong connects and whatnot, not a massive influence on who he chooses to sign. He's very much like involved heavily in the football and role. Of course, he has an influence, not a big influence. That's more down to the board.
See, that's mad. I'd expect that to be the other way around, because like if the board are going to go and pick the players, then like they should manage the team. That's how I've always looked at it. Like, if you're going to pick the players, well, you know what you're doing. Why aren't you a manager? Like, that's how I see it.
It's split into two categories as well, Lee. So it's based on one side of it is analysing stats. So so it's not just goals and assists. It's what position in this position. If Van Dijk likes to pass the ball from the right hand side or whatever the hell, and they work it out that way. Which is why probably Darwin Núñez is getting a lot of chances, because he probably worked out, okay, he's not the greatest technically, but he's going to get this many chances if he can just put them away. So it's a lot of hope as well. But then also technique is the other category. And then they'll just see what implements the team most, really. But even David Moyes had an interview a couple of weeks ago. Do you know that guy who's doing interviews with like Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher? He done one with David Moyes, and David Moyes said it's becoming not necessarily for him at the moment, but it's becoming a lot more of a normal thing for board to become an influence on transfers more so.
That's crazy, man. That's actually mad. Let's move on to... We're going to come to the FA Cup in a bit, people. Make sure you smash the likes up and sub to James's channel. Links in the title. So make sure you just click that blue hyperlink straight there. And always good viewing, man. Always. So make sure you go and check James's channel out. I want to talk about Caicedo, because that's a player that we've both been linked to, and Chelsea as well. There's reports doing the rounds today that Brighton are looking for his replacement already. And we know that football club are smart. We know that they can command big fees. We know their scouting network's been mad over the last 5 years or so, maybe even longer. And there was a cracking video that I think it was HITC YouTube channel put out on the rise of Brighton. They came out the other day. Absolutely cracking video, man. Like, so anyone who's not checked that out, go and check that out. But they're already lining up a replacement for Caicedo. Chelsea apparently put a bid in for about 60 million euros last week. And they're saying, look, we want 75 mil in euros. So that's about, what, 64 million? Like, do you see him going in this window? Or do you think that's going to be, like, there is only 5 days left. I know anything can happen just like that. But do you think he's going to either leave Brighton and sign for Arsenal, Chelsea or Liverpool in this window? Probably not, to be honest. Or do you think that's a summer one?
Brighton would sell him if they had a adequate replacement. They really trust in their scouting process, so I have no doubt they'd sell him. Plus, the more funds that they're generating, which is a lot recently with the sales of Basuma and a lot of other players, Trossard as well, I think it'd be a smart signing. I think Brighton play a nice style of football, which means they'll integrate nicely into the Arsenal team. Wait, is he linked with Arsenal, Basuma?
Yeah. No, not Basuma. Caicedo.
Sorry, Caicedo. My bad.
Yeah, 75
it was the comparison I made before.
75 mil. Arsenal are apparently been quoted, and apparently they're thinking about it.
Why not, mate? Why not? He's one of the best young prospects out there at the moment. You don't really see many people sort of going in different avenues. So why not, lads? I think it'd be a smart signing. He's energetic. He's good technically, and he's coming from a good stable football club. And to go from one to another would be marvellous, I think, for him. And let's be honest, I think Arsenal's just that cool team to be at the moment. You know, they're in London and the fans are buzzing, the atmosphere's great, and the culture that's being built within the team's quite cool, man. Like, I like the culture within the team. The boys look like they get on with each other, and there's a real togetherness, and there's things that remind me of when we were really good. Of course, you have put a massively different spin. There's actually a bit of both of like us and Man City when they were at the best, and I suppose that's just the Arteta effect, because you actually put the effort in as well. It's not just playing well on the ball, you just run off it. It's like, you know, Barcelona back in the day, they just wouldn't run off the ball, they just keep it for 90% of the game. Whereas now it's like you're doing the physical side as well, so it's very impressive. And I think if Arsenal really want to go out there and just take it, do what Liverpool didn't, take it the next step, keep going, don't stop just because you're showing a bit of good form. Caicedo will be a good signing.
And the fact that he gets to sit and learn from Thomas Partey, who's been absolutely superb this season. Like, every time I've watched Partey this season, I'm like, that is the player we were watching at Atleti. We're finally keeping him fit for long enough as well.
He's been boss.
He'll play 5 games and get injured for 5 games, and then he's back for 5. So it's been stop-start. But this season, he's been quality, man. Like, absolutely hard. Apart from getting nutmegged by Rashford the other day, he's been.
No, but you know what though, Lee? Do you know what, Lee? He is being flawless. Do you know if Thomas Partey was doing these performances back in 2000 to 2005, you're looking at him as one of the greatest DMs to have played for Arsenal in the Premier League era. And I'm saying one of, because I know you've had some great ones. I'm just saying though, lad, like, one thing that weren't so prevalent back in the day, and I go back and watch old games all the time, and you see all the mistakes, and you're like, oh, that would have been on Twitter. Oh, Peter Schmeichel would have got a bollocking for that one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember the game against Arsenal, I don't know who ends up winning. It was a mad game. It was back in you had a Nelker up front. It was time ago. It was on Sky Sports. But anyway, and I watched it a couple of years back, and Schmeichel made many blunders. And I'm like, wow, if he done that today, the shit that he would have got on Twitter, for people who don't watch football that often and just tune into the Twitter side of things, that's what their image is of him. If you think of an Alisson mistake, but you haven't watched him for 6 months and he's had 6 months worth of really, really good performances, you're going to be like, nah, man, he's not the same. And it was Chelsea fans who were doing this. They were like, nah, but Mendy should be over Alisson. There was a lot of Chelsea fans saying that to me, and I thought that was ludicrous.
No, you're right, because look at when we played against you back in the day, and Gerrard passed Henry in the last minute. Do you remember that? Yeah, like if that would be the same thing, it'd be like, oh, that's a disgrace. Drop him, get him out. He's washed.
This is
finished.
It, though. This is it. And we're the same, because what the majority of it was, you'd either get one chance to watch it on telly, like in the pub or in yours, and then it's not really on again.
Yeah.
Or you already know the score, or you've been at the game. And then you only have that memory because you don't go on Twitter after and be like, wow, that goal was good. Wow, this was sick. It was so different. And I just think the perception of footballers would be very intriguing if that Wales was still this one. And I actually think the technical ability was still higher back in the day. But I think with the amount of mistakes, maybe lack of running, how many people like running nowadays, it'd be called out way more often than not.
No, that's a great point, man. That's a cracking point. Let's move on to the FA Cup. We've obviously got Manchester City tomorrow. Looking forward to it myself. I love the FA Cup, man. Obviously, my team have won it a lot. I've seen 9 FA Cup wins in my illustrious lifetime of 40 years. I've seen us win it 9 times. You're obviously playing Sunday against Brighton, I think, away. That's not going to be an easy game. You scraped through past Wolves. I don't know how that goal was offside in the first.
Shut up, Lee. It's called an envelope. It's called an envelope, my friend. You know what I mean? Liverpool are back and we're gonna win the league, lads. No, it's absolutely mad. And now we've played shit, and I'm just praying for results, like just out of anywhere, because that'd be just ideal. At the moment, we're just in a state, lads. We're in a proper state, and that game emphasised it. The fact that we had to sneak past, and then Diego Costa, at whatever age he is, I should not be shitting myself when he comes on the pitch. And that's what our performances have gave me. It's like I heard Liverpool fans going, Diego Costa, the elephant man. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, for fuck's sake. And he's going to score. And he never, thankfully. But the point is like how unreliable this team is. And that's the thing. It's, if you have a dodgy box and the dodgy box doesn't work on streams, and you do, I don't know, something wrong, like, I don't know, YouTube watch-alongs. Perfect example. If you do YouTube watch-alongs and your stream isn't always work, it's unreliable. You need to find an alternative way to watch the game because it's going to just interrupt with your work. That's what it's like with Liverpool right now. And that's why I don't believe we're going to get a string of wins together. We have to get lucky wins. It's like scrapes and last-minute things like that. Newcastle.
They literally took you to pieces the other day, man, at Brighton. So it's like they already know they can slap you about.
Yeah.
And you haven't had anyone come back into the team from the first game that's missing, as far as I'm aware. And then Brighton are going to think, well, listen, we're flying high in the league. Why can't we beat them again? So that game, I love watching Brighton play football because they outside of the big six, they're the best team to watch by a mile. Yeah, and they're actually better than Tottenham to watch. Tottenham are dross. Yeah, they're better than Chelsea to watch. Yeah, this season especially. They're better than you this season to watch. Yeah. So it's like there's 3 of the big 6 straight away. Yeah, like. I'd say they're better than Newcastle to watch as well. Although Newcastle are just.
I disagree. I think Newcastle. It depends your eye for football, but in terms of efficiency, I think Newcastle are amazing. I really enjoy their style of play, to be honest. Whereas Tottenham, they're just like hope for the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just vibes.
Exactly. Just vibes. You know what I mean? Just football and inshallah, my brother. That's what they're hoping for.
Exactly.
No, it's mad, lad. And I was going to make a point there as well about Liverpool, but. It was just going to be something shit anyway, but it's escaped my brain. And you mentioned...
Do you think he'll get through, though? Do you think this time, like, after playing them and losing embarrassingly the other week?
It came back to me, Ed, actually. So the Brighton game, I think we'll go through. Maybe if Brighton are shit. But the thing is, their players have got a lot more incentive. They've been playing a good structure of football, so that's very, very unlikely. They're most likely going to get the most chances. They're most likely going to do X, Y, and Z. It's about if we can put our chances away. So, I don't know. Based on chances, no. I think, don't be surprised if we do very, very shit in the league and continue to, get knocked out by Brighton, don't be surprised if we do something against Real Madrid, even if it's a good performance. Honestly, I think the best teams to fight right now for us is older teams. And listen, they've got Camavinga, but he hasn't been playing week out from my knowledge. Tchouaméni's become an ever-present stay in the team, so he's got an incentive. But a lot of the other players are older. Now, they look at Liverpool like little man, like we always beat you, you know what I mean? And even like, no, but they do. You've got to accept you're superior, at times. And Real Madrid are just that team, lad. They've got more Champions Leagues. They beat us every single time. They beat us in 2 finals. So you've got to accept that. But over 2 legs, in fact, we're not going to beat them. But hopefully we put in a bit of a better performance because they're older players. The teams I worry about most is the younger ones who look at our players like Dying Lions, which is what they're looking like. So, yeah, don't be surprised to see us do much better against Real Madrid than other opposition in upcoming weeks.
And let's be real, you do have a fantastic history in the Champions League, so I wouldn't put it past Liverpool to win it. I know that sounds a ridiculous statement to make right now with the current form that you're in. Everything's going against you this season, blah, 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 with injuries and all of that. The ownership talk in the background. But it would not surprise me if you ended up getting to the final and winning it. Right, that's just Liverpool.
Yeah, man.
When they have a little bit of like, I'm not too sure about this, bang, they arrive in the final. It's a little bit like Chelsea in that respect. Like, every time Chelsea are up against it, they put a trophy out normally. I don't think they will this year, but Liverpool kind of got that. Like, they can switch it on. And Champions League nights, under the lights at Anfield, we've seen many, many teams fall by the wayside, mate. Like, look at that Barcelona game. Like,
lads, City will win it this year.
Atletico beat you, I think, didn't they? Was it Atletico that beat you?
Lads, it's completely different circumstances. Like, the team, the same players, different teams. I don't think we'll win it. I think City will win it.
Well, the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what? It's funny you saying that because Pep, I know he's a little bit of a wind-up merchant. Like in his interview, I love watching him because he's just brutal at times. Like, he called out the whole team the other day. There's players in my squad that are, they're comfortable. And it was funny because he was basically aiming that at Bernardo Silva, Cancelo, Kyle Walker, and Kevin De Bruyne, because they were the ones all sat on the bench that day. It was funny. It was like you basically just called everyone out. Like, and he's doing that for 2 reasons. Number one, they have been crap. Like, them players, maybe not so much De Bruyne. De Bruyne's a streaky
No, he's been
player.
shit. He's
been shit in maybe 75% of the games, but the 25% of the games that he's not been shit, he's been at a very good level. But that's why Pep's saying, and Pep knows what he's doing. But Kevin De Bruyne, when he went to the World Cup, he sat there and said, I don't think we'll win it, Belgium, because we're too old. That tells you all you need to know about him in this season.
A lack of incentive. I keep saying to people.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is, that can go 2 ways for Pep, right? Because he's come out and said, I'm not interested in winning the league. Well, I don't care about the league, he said a couple of weeks ago. Right? But I think he said that when they lost to West Brom about 3 years ago, he said the same, don't care about the league. Yeah, and it's like it's a mind game to get his team back on side. But I think a lot of them players, not as all well at Man City, trust me. When you've got 4 of your first team players that have been there for years and years, not really interested, that's a little bit weird to me. That's almost like, hang on a minute, they're a little bit bored of.
It's not weird. It's not
pressure
weird.
Every day.
That's it. So it's not weird. It's very normal for the human being to get burnt out. And then guess what? All the expectation that you build off yourself for the previous 4 years of really, really good work, there's an expectation. And sometimes your work rate will not match that expectation because you're not fighting for the same stuff. Conor McGregor's a prime example in MMA. He's amazing. He's unstoppable. Jose Aldo, 13 seconds. And then he falls off a cliff. It's a very normal thing in life, and we need to start being just open-minded to the idea that sometimes, Dele Alli's a perfect example, young players just don't go past a certain point. And listen, Dele Alli, in comparison to where he was as a kid, if you told him how much money he was going to make, or a stranger finds out, this kid's going to make this much when he's older, you'd be thinking, fucking hell, he must be doing something, boss. And that's the way that people dictate value and whatever have you. Listen, Dele Alli's done amazing. For the way that you're supposed to get by in this world, fantastic. And the media will make it sound worse than what it needs to be. He doesn't work hard. Guess what? Maybe he doesn't work as hard as these super elite athletes because maybe the incentive isn't the same. He's still fitter than a lot of the people who go to McDonald's on a regular basis and get celebrated in adverts. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, Lee.
Well, listen, he's got more money in his bank than most people have.
And forget
and he was
the money.
adopted. He was left on a doorstep, bro.
bro, I'm not being funny. Fair play to the fucking kid, because I'm not saying he's the perfect to you. He might be spoilt, but he's
Oh, mate,
kind
he's
of
an
it.
idiot. He's an absolute fucking prick,
And do
mate.
you know what?
I know people that know him, and I've met him a few times. He comes across as like, yeah, no, I'm like this. And I actually met that guy the day after he'd done the deal to Tottenham. Yeah, because he grew up in the same area I lived in.
Yeah.
And loads of people I know fucking hang around with him, or used to hang around with him, went to school with him, etc., etc. Yeah, and it's like I met him, and I was just like, he's having a good night. He was chilling. And to be fair to him, he did a lock-in talking about McDonald's. He did a lock-in in McDonald's at 4 a.m., smashed off his face and bought everyone McDonald's. Yeah, and I was like, cool. But then I've met him a few other times, and he was just like, when he was at MK Dons, he was a lot more humble than he is now. As soon as he got that big move to Tottenham, he's just turned into like a totally different person. Like the money and fame and power and women and all of that went to his head. And if you look at his career now, bro, he's getting booed off the pitch in Turkey and that. And it's like, come on, mate, look at what you could have been. Yeah. And people like that wind me up, James, right? Because it's like, you've got all the talent. Yeah. Just dickheads around him. Yeah. And he's allowed dickheads to fucking bring him down a level, but he's also not got the mindset of, this is what I've always dreamed of doing. This is what I'm good at doing. And now I've just let it go to pot. People like that wind me up.
It's a proper shame. It's a proper shame that you see talent go wasted, I suppose. But I think it's very important to emphasize that people change as they grow older. You know, you lose love. It's not a hobby for these guys. It's a job. They're there 3 days a week. They've got to speak a certain way in front of the media. They've got social media. They can't go to shops for milk, lad. It's fucking heavy. And if they do have a little bit of a stuck-up problem, maybe it's because they've got a bunch of thousands of people calling them a dickhead on a daily basis. I'm not saying it's right, and 2 wrongs don't make a right, but there's a little bit of a reason. It's not completely abnormal. So I'm going to be honest, lads. I think there is a certain way to treat people. God willing, I always treat people with respect because I think it's the best way to treat people. But if an entire media outlet and a group of fans came at me and attacked me on a day-to-day basis, that could deteriorate me to a point where I don't have the same mindset to where I do now, which would be a big shame. But unfortunately, we're humans, Lee, and these things can be very reoccurring things. I've had very tough times in my life, but they're not to make it sad. But you can kind of go a bit mad, you know what I mean, in a brief period of time. I feel sorry for people like Dele Alli because they make a lot of money, but they don't really have a lot of freedom.
Yeah, the freedom, 100%. Like, you literally, everywhere you go, you're getting mobbed. Yeah, which is why, like, a lot of players end up going to America because, like, nobody knows who they are. Like, Prince Harry's out in America. Like, he could probably walk down the road and nobody would know who he is. Like, and that's Prince Harry. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Beckham, when he went out there, I know Beckham's like a massive global superstar, but Rooney went out there and said, yeah, it's nice just to be left alone, no paparazzi following me around, etc., etc. So I get that, man, 100%. Before we wrap this up, give us your score prediction for Arsenal City and then Brighton Liverpool.
Arsenal City, I think you'll draw with City. I think they'll give you the game. I'm going to say 2-2, which is a very good result for Arsenal, by the way. Much worse for them. And then us, who are we playing?
You're playing Brighton away in the cup.
Shit. In the cup. It's a bit more unpredictable in the cup because I don't know what we're going to do and then I don't know what they're going to do.
The cup game as well, so that means a replay 2-2.
Oh, shit, yeah. Well, I'll still say 2-2. And I'm going to say 2-1 Liverpool. I just think we're shit housey.
Well, you never know, mate. You never know. Brighton, as good as Brighton are, they might think, well, actually, the league's more important. Try and get into Europe this season. So it depends what team Brighton put out. I suppose it depends what all teams put out because, like, Liverpool are way down the table. So again, they might think, well, actually, let's just get knocked out of that and try and go on a charge to top 4 if we can. So you're 10 points behind with a game in hand, a 4th. It's a big ask, but listen, there's 2 teams in this league that can go on a massive run. Yeah, and that have previously proven they can go on massive runs. That's Man City and Liverpool. Arsenal are showing that this season.
It's different now, lad. I know.
I'm just trying to give you a bit of hope, man.
I appreciate it. But don't worry, Lee. You're not BT Sport and you don't have to promote these games. You can say it how it is, lad. You're on it. It's not that exciting for Liverpool at the moment.
Me, mate. They tried before and they offered me peanuts to promote something. I was like, get in the bin. You're £1 billion company. Like,
fucking dickheads, bruv. Pay Lee the money. Pay Lee the money as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Seeing all these seeing Liverpool players' wages. Give this man some of that because putting in the shift unlike those.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, big up for that, man. Man in the chat said 4-0. to Brighton.
All right, fucking hell, I understand banter, but let's equate a little bit of football and logic. I think me and Lee have spit some really, really good football and knowledge throughout the show. I'd like the chat to reciprocate.
Exactly. Absolute facts, man. That's all we call it.
It'll probably will happen now that I've said that, but fair enough.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Listen, big up to everyone inside, man. I'll be back again later with Goonie. He's texted me, so I need to just confirm time with him. But it should be either 5 or 6 p.m. this evening. What you got coming up, man?
I will be just doing videos, lad. Not on set at the moment. Moving out soon, so I'm kind of focused on that. And then, boom, going to be flying afterwards. So videos are going to be like more consistent in a couple of weeks. Still subscribe because it's not going to be that long away before you just get notifications every day. So if you're not too annoyed by the Scouse accent, go over to James Steppen TV.
There you go. Link is in the title, people. Make sure you smash the like button. Subscribe to my channel. Second channel as well. I'll be recording the video later. That'll be edited hopefully by the end of this month and out on the second channel. Keep pushing up the subs on that. It's over 7.5K, so thank you very much. And that will be regular content on there from February onwards. So yeah, man, big up, and always nice talking to you, James. Have a wonderful day.
Lovely.
Get back in and warm up, man. Put the heating on. You don't have to stand outside anymore. I appreciate
you know that, bruv.
Signal.
Nah, it's like that.
Nah, nice one. We're out of here, people. I'll be back about 5, 6 o'clock. Laters.